wrong screen. It's not moving.
Awesome. Brad, Scott, how you going, guys?
Hey.
Dennis. So we got quite a bit to go through today. It's been a while since we've done one of our live feeds.
Hope everyone's okay.
Yeah.
What a crazy time.
Yeah.
Man.
So yeah, perfect time to be watching a live feed when you're self-isolating.
Yeah.
Or as the introverts say, normal life.
Yeah.
So we got heaps of changes that we've done on the boats, probably since a lot of you guys have sort of seen it in terms of live stuff. We want to update you about some of the changes that we're thinking of doing to the wings. We've had a viewer from Victoria get in touch with us, and he's really knowledgeable about these wings. He's used these wings for about 25 years on boats, and he's built 3 sets of them on different boats, and he works with a boilermaker that's built 20 different sets of these wings. So an enormous amount of experience. He got in touch with us and just sort of talked through what we're doing with our wings and everything. We see you now. Hey, Dennis.
Oh, there was difficulty.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it was reception or something.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah. Sort of everything's a bit slower, eh?
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
Every man and his dog's on the internet at the
Yeah,
moment, so
yeah.
things are a bit slow. The start was cut off.
All right, we'll go over it.
Lag.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's difficult, isn't it?
So yeah, so just to
We'll just
recap,
maybe slow down. Just give
Talk.
it time to
talk with a
get to
buffer.
them. Talk with a buffer. That's great.
Chad, how you
Hi,
going, Chad? So
Hey,
yeah.
Also, there's a couple of decisions we need to make about how we're doing the channel. And anyone on the round table today gets a chance to decide with us
Yeah.
what we're doing. So we're looking forward to getting
Yeah.
your feedback. We need it today. So
You guys are literally guiding the channel today.
yeah, we're gonna maybe
Yeah.
do some changes. So we'll cover that as well.
Yeah.
And, so we'll just do a little bit of an overview. People kind of come and go on the round table. So I'll just. There is quite a buffer. Look how long it's taken.
We know your table isn't round; it's more rectangular. You know that.
So of course, we brought Brewpeg 5 years ago, and we're really keen to share it with the global community. And this virus right now makes it quite difficult.
Yeah.
So things are changing. We're hoping to launch. We've definitely had a bit of a delay because with all the volunteers coming and help and all you guys, it does speed things up. So
Yeah.
there is a bit of a delay. So we're thinking we'd probably hit the water more likely June now. We were hoping for late April, May.
Yeah.
But I think probably a couple of months might happen now. But Dame and I, we're finding that we're able to work a bit harder and longer hours because the weather's cooled down. It's 30 degrees today, and it's there's no wind, so it's a little bit warmer. But we've had a nice breeze over the last week or so, and it's been great. We've had we've had to do a lot of prep for being isolated because of my health conditions. I'm vulnerable to, if I get a bug, I get really sick, and I don't often recover, and it goes to my heart quite easily. So we're just being incredibly careful and just taking the advice of the medical community globally. So. And of course things are sort of heating up here in Australia slowly, which is the pattern, of course, with this virus. So we've kind of jumped ahead of it. We don't want to risk anything with this project, and that includes our health. So
Where we are, we're outside of a major centre. We're not near a major centre.
luckily, we're so lucky.
Yeah,
I think about you guys who are, kind of, it's a bit more difficult to get out. Or
Bundaberg's the closest town to us, so we're in a suburb of Bundaberg, but we're 30 minutes out. So where we are, there's probably only a few hundred people that live in this area that we are, and Bundaberg is about 100,000 people. But as I say, it's quite a spread out town, and it's 30 minutes away from us from the city centre.
they have had one case there though, and she was a worker in the hospital. So
Yeah.
I'm in isolation and good. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I'm glad, Dennis. Yeah, you got to look after yourself, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
That's
So
a relief, actually. I've been thinking about you. Yeah, good. So we when that happened, we thought, it's time to just be on the side of caution and be kind of a bit more sort of commonsensical about it. So we have.
Yeah.
So we hope everyone's doing what they feel is right and taking precautions. And
So
we don't want to actually. One of the thoughts we had is we're noticing a lot of channels are starting to talk about it a lot, and it's a lot of media coverage and social media about it. And although it's really good to get the information, we don't want to kind of start fixating on it or talk about it too much. Or
we don't want to ignore it, but we also don't
Yeah,
want to just
yeah.
have it be the main focus.
Yeah,
Like,
so we'll talk a little bit about how it's going to go, because they're saying it's a few months, quite a few months, that you might be in isolation
Yeah.
before a vaccine comes through. So we'll talk about how it's going. It's really weird so far. Like Damon and I've noticed, because normally we have people banging on the side of the boat, coming up, having a tour, visiting, staying, for long periods and short periods, and it's just so quiet, and the yard is really quiet as well. So it's been a bit of a dramatic change for us. But because of that, we're finding we're sort of, okay, we'll do that job now, and we'll do that job now. So all the little jobs are starting to get done, which I imagine everyone is starting to clean up their houses.
yeah. I'd absolutely prefer to keep Brew Pig a virus-free place.
Yeah, it's better that way, I think, definitely. Moderate weather.
Yeah, definitely, Scott. So, how does the virus affect the project Brew Pig? So basically, we're putting a hold on any volunteers, just because obviously, if we get it, we don't want to give it to you, and vice versa. Jess is immune compromised, so that basically means we have to be kind of one of the first movers to isolate. But the boat we're kind of thinking of this as a bit of a test. So for us, it's a case of when we go on these expeditions and stuff, we're basically self-isolating when we go on an expedition. So we'll be isolated for anything up to 9 months, So the boat isn't set up for that yet, but it's a really great test as to, okay, well, what areas are working and what areas aren't working if we have no outside help or whatever, So
because that's one of the main goals, is self-sufficiency. So,
Yeah.
Rainwater, solar, wind power,
Yeah.
food supply for at least 12 months, all of that stuff. So so we've noticed our gaps already, and we're plugging them already. So it's surprising what you're not prepared for.
Yeah.
So we're using it. We're not wasting a moment with that, making sure that we use it well.
It's kind of like a forced test, which
Forced
is
training.
pretty awesome. Considering what the
it's
boat.
a horrible way to do it, but it's
Yeah.
we're not wasting it. Yeah.
It's scary at the time. Also, got to be careful. Yeah, you do. Yeah, true. Scott.
Yeah.
So we mentioned earlier that there's some decisions that we need to make on the channel. So we wanted to involve you guys in that, so that you essentially you guys have say into what we're going to do on the channel going forward. There's a lot of people that are self-isolating around the world, and obviously people are watching the internet a lot more. One of the thoughts that we've been having is instead of doing a single episode per week, we're thinking of splitting it into 2 episodes per week. They'll be slightly shorter.
We've already had feedback that it's too long.
Yeah.
1 week. And we're thinking it's not a hard thing to break it into 2. It's just there's so much footage. As you know, if you've been on here, Scott, there's so much that happens in, even just a weekend.
Yeah.
Let alone the whole week.
10% of what happens gets videoed,
Yeah.
and of that 10%, maybe 1% of that gets into the episode. So
it's not quite that bad, but it feels that way. But what we're thinking is, well, why don't we split it up? But if you guys prefer 1 video a week and longer, that's cool, but there's no cost. We're not charging. If we do
true.
2, it's the same cost.
At the moment,
at
the moment we charge per episode, and it'll stay like that. But we're
Only
not going to charge.
one a week,
We're not going to charge any more than 1 a week.
So it'll be like extra bonus footage,
Yeah.
but it'll be another whole episode. So we just thought it'd be nice, and instead of like half an hour to 40 minutes, which is kind of what we do, it would be more like 15 minutes each episode.
Yeah.
But it would be split halfway through the week. So
Yeah.
So give us your feedback, what you want, because
Yeah, we'd love
you
to
get
know.
decide.
What you guys, what your preference is around that sort of thing. Like, do you prefer more frequent uploads that are slightly shorter, or are you happy to wait the week and then have the longer episode? You won't miss out on any content. What's more productive for you? Would having 2 separate episodes mean more work for you?
In a way, it does a little bit.
Not a huge amount more,
But
though.
not significant enough to not do it.
Yeah.
But thanks for the thought. Yeah, it would give you less work
For you to
for you to
produce.
produce.
Yeah, it depends on. Yeah, like it's. Don't worry too much about the workload, because that's like, if we couldn't manage it, we wouldn't offer it. And it's certainly, it's all manageable. Like that level of workload is manageable.
Does it make a difference being able to sit down, have a coffee, watch kind of a long thing? Is it better to kind of catch up twice a week, or sit down for a longer thing?
I like the smaller chunks. It's easier to digest. Gives me more to look forward to.
Okay,
cool.
yeah. That's what we were thinking, and that's the feedback we've been starting to get already. Just a week into isolation, and people around the world are saying that to us. You know, it's too long a wait.
Okay, cool. So then,
I'd like smaller chunks. Anyone else? It's all good
it's
to me.
good
Cool.
to me. Okay, cool. All right, going once, going twice. Took the words out of my mouth. All right, cool. So we'll go with that then.
We'll try it and see if, and
Yeah.
if people don't like it, then
Sweet.
we'll get the feedback.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Brad.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right,
Brilliant.
good, we'll try
okay,
that.
cool.
Lovely. Done. Agreed.
I noticed Brad was saying that he's got.
Wait, hang on. What? Scott Jackson? It must be while you were kissing me. Who was that directed to?
Was it? Did I see? Oh, here we go. Brad Scott, I've got 2 months of crap on my boat for projects. I'll be keeping busy.
Yeah.
So many people saying to get into projects
Yeah.
and cleaning and stuff, eh? Yeah.
There's going to be so many clean houses and boats after this. I hate waiting a week to see Jess. All right, sweet.
Oh, thank you.
That's cool. We'll do two.
Yeah. Cool, we'll try it. We'll give it a trial and see how it goes.
Yeah, nice.
Mm.
We also wanted to do a supporters board directed to Brad. Directed to Brad. We also wanted to do a supporters board. So on our website, we want to do basically a photo of everybody that's sort of involved in Brewpeg and supporters, that sort of thing. So
Watching us.
yeah,
being on board,
volunteers,
volunteers,
yeah,
patrons.
that sort of thing. So
We're going to put this out to the whole community. We wanted to let you know about it first. We're thinking of ways of staying connected because it's, it could be 6 to 12 months. So
yeah.
we just really want to do that, and we've been meaning to do it for ages as well. So we thought we'd do it.
And it really, like, the whole thing really changes the dynamic of the project as well for us, like, because like we've always said, this is a boat to share, and we kind of have to figure out how to share in a world where you're not allowed to be near anyone.
Yeah.
So we're trying to, one of the thoughts we had was the supporters board, and submit a picture to us. So jump onto our website, brewpeg.com, and send us a picture, and just tell us a little bit about yourself, because we want to chuck it onto the website.
Can you do that on the contact page?
Oh.
We'll have to set it up. We'll
I'll
let you
put
know.
it-
We'll let you know when it's up and
Yeah,
running.
I'll put a submit button on it. Hold up for 24 hours, but I'll put a submit button on the website.
What we would most like is a photo and a name,
Yeah.
and maybe where you're from, something like that. But some people don't want to, show themselves on the internet, and that's completely cool. A picture of a foot, or an animal that friend that you have, or something that represents you.
Yeah.
We will put on as well. So it doesn't. We'd love photos of you and your family, or where you sit and watch us, or whatever. But whatever you like, we're just wanting to kind of anything that sort of symbolises you.
Yeah.
Would be great. But we'll let you know when it's up and running. But have a think about it.
Yeah, nice.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll use one of them. yeah. So that's something we'll be doing soon.
Ideas.
Ideas, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do that maybe later, eh?
Alright, cool.
Yeah. So,
We're just walking through a list of all the stuff we
yeah.
wanted to cover.
I'm just thinking about there will be no cleaning here, Brad. Yeah, good question.
Yeah, Brad, yeah, so yes I am. So I work, the company I work for sells electricity contracts to large companies, and large companies are freaking out at the moment about electricity. Is it going to be still on in a week? Are they going to have, negative termination fees or anything like that with using less if their production scales down, all sorts of stuff like that. So so absolutely, I'm still working a normal 40-hour week, and that seems to be in some ways ramping up and in other ways dying off. There's, it's the last thing on most people's mind, but at the same time, it's the top of mind for a lot of businesses that are trying to survive.
But your company's been really proactive,
Awesome.
They sent everyone they could home.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so I spoke to Scott Jackson during the week, and he said, remote access was the buzzword of the week. And,
Yeah,
oh
so
my
is.
God, same with our work as well. Like there's about 160 people at our work, and they pretty much sent everybody home within 24 hours. They had most of the company working at home, so I suspect there was some pretty rushed moments in the IT department figuring everybody out. I had long story, but I had 4 work laptops up here, and they did a scramble around trying to find any IT gear they could to send everybody home. So it was a bit of a mad dash, but yeah, that's all getting done, and yeah, in a way it kind of allows us to focus on the boat a bit more. There's less pressure to do anything else. We can't go out, so yeah, it's for us it's kind of concentrated boat time.
But you're always isolated.
Yeah, we do.
We really are, I suppose, yeah. And with my health for the last 3 years, my doctor said, try not to shake anyone's hand or hug anyone, stay 2 meters away from everyone when I'm out, because I'm so prone to getting really bad infections my lungs don't cope with them. You know, they're pretty scarred. So we're kind of used to it. Dame's always thinking about that and protecting me. So yeah, we're very careful whose hand I shake. Yeah, I'm always checking whether you're looking sick or so we're used to it.
Scott Jackson, was there a Patreon tier where you can get stickers printed and put them on the wall of the boat? That could be kind of cool as well. Have Patreon names on the boat itself.
Yeah, I'd love that. It's in some way having names. Yeah, for us, everything that's been donated and every job that everyone's done for us, when we look around, it's kind of like it's named already, but no one else knows that because it's just a name. So the boat's a very different experience probably for us than other people. It's a patchwork of people's contributions.
Scott's Navs. Dennis's Vice, etc.
Yeah, all of that. It's amazing.
So I suppose a little bit of a recap of what we've been up to the last few episodes and everything. So the main jobs that we've been having on the go are the stabilizers.
Oh my gosh, the biggest job in the universe. Yeah, of course it always on this boat turns out to be bigger than we think.
The generator downstairs. So we've got a little 5 kilowatt air cooled generator. We installed that into the engine room.
That was the last episode.
True. So that's in the episode. That's in the engine room at the moment. We haven't got the exhaust hooked up, and we haven't got it electrically wired into the boat. However, that stuff's on its way. So in the next few weeks, we'll hopefully have the exhaust set up. One of the other jobs we had was the exhaust shroud. So that's kind of linked to the generator in a way. So we need to put an exhaust shroud around all of the exhaust pipes. So main engine, generator, Kubota, and then eventually a second generator when we get it. And that's to protect people from, as they walk past, from getting burnt by the exhaust and so on. So, and it also does ventilation in the engine room. So I'll show you a bit of that exhaust shroud when we go outside. Stabilizers, as I mentioned, and what was the other one we did? Tanks. We've got a heap of tanks that we need to mount into the engine room. So
they won't be a big job, though, eh?
They won't be a big job, but there's a lot of work to do still. So we've got 3 stainless tanks and 1 aluminium tank to mount. So
used to bantering back and forth.
So yeah, we've got 2 stainless tanks that are holding tanks. Now it's not ideal to use stainless or aluminium or anything like that for holding tanks, as we've been told repeatedly. These are temporary tanks though. These are basically, we're thinking of these as 6-month tanks. They're not very big. There's 500 litres capacity between the two, 250 litres each.
And we're aiming for 1,000?
Yeah, we want at least 1,000. But what we're going to do eventually is actually build fiberglass tanks. And the reason we want to do fiberglass with our holding tanks is the acid in the waste doesn't attack the material. So stainless and aluminium basically get attacked by the acid in urine. And if you do it out of fiberglass or plastic, it's irrelevant. It's inert. So eventually we want to do fiberglass tanks, and we'll build them into the shape of the hull, and that'll give us a lot more capacity as well. But
it's all about dump and run though, just getting in the
100%.
water, and particularly now because we are isolated, but we'd be more isolated on the water. And we could do a lot more on the water, and it'd be a lot more fun on the water. So there's a lot of reasons to get on the water, and the cost as well. So it drops the cost. And it means that the project starts moving a bit faster, so that'd be really good too. But
so the 2 stainless holding tanks need to go in. We've got a stainless oil tank for the Kubota, so it's a 120 litre tank that we need to fill up with oil as the main reservoir for our hydraulic systems.
True, Dennis. They are. It's just welding, eh?
And we've got an aluminium. It used to be a propane tank, and it's rated to 480 psi. Probably not going to go near that. We're turning it into an air compressor tank, so it'll be about.
I love that tank.
Yeah, we'll be
That's
about
my favourite so far.
Yeah.
I just think that thing is so booty.
It's I'll show you it when we get down, but it's quite cool. Neat. It's like 4 little cylinders all joined together in a rectangle. It's
so thick. It's awesome.
So that'll be going in as an air compressor tank, and the air compressor is what's on the main engine. So we'll be utilising the original truck compressor and running a tank inside the engine room, and that's going to give us air tools in the engine room and all that sort of carry on.
And Dame's you're putting on the left hand side of your tool bench, your workbench,
So we're basically building a little workshop in the engine room. It won't be. So we're thinking of it as a absolutely 140. So we're thinking of the workbench that we're going to build into the engine room as basically just a little repair desk. So if we're fixing electronics or we're pulling a grinder apart to fix it or whatever, it'll be done
working on the motor.
Down there, working on the motor, etc. It won't be for like grinding and drilling and welding and all that sort of carry on. We're actually going to do that up on the rear deck of the boat. So mainly because steel boats rust from the inside out, and if we get like grinding flex or drilling flex or anything like that, and it goes down into the bilge and we don't see it, that'll rust and it'll start basically digging a hole through the boat. So we're basically being as careful as possible to keep any of that sort of swarf out of the engine room. And as a result, yeah, so that's just going to be a repair bench down there, and then any sort of heavier engineering will be up on the rear deck.
Time for coffee.
Definitely time for coffee.
Yeah, so it's kind of exciting. We've been designing downstairs, so we'll put a map up at some point on Patreon and show you what we're planning. Yeah. It's such a big space down there, but man, it's shrinking.
Yeah, it's
so fast.
It's funny in the videos, eh? Like it just looks like a massive white cavity.
Yeah.
With a tiny little engine in the middle of it, but man, there's going to be no room when we finish because we're going to have so much stuff in that room.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's all sort of progressing, and you know, jobs like the exhaust shroud and things are kind of linked to it, but at the same time they're separate on their own. We need ventilation in the engine room.
Make the
bench a good height.
It
won't
be.
It'll be a sit down. Yeah, it'll be a sit down bench. So
because it's like Dennis, it's not high enough. You just don't have the room. Yeah, to stand easily.
Yeah. So where the bench is, the floor kind of goes up on an angle on either side of the engine room for the shape of the hull. So you get less. The further out to the side of the boat you go, the less headroom you get. So we're putting like basically a seat arrangement that's going to be reasonably close to the main engine, because that's where you got a decent amount of headroom comparatively. And your feet will be heading out towards the side of the boat with a bench in front of you, and there'll be shelves all the way around the bench and so on. But yeah, so that's the plan. It'll make more sense when we draw it out and show everyone. What else have we got? Tanks, exhausts.
So the stabilizers.
Yes.
With Chris, this really helpful guy. It's an interesting story. When we were looking at trawlers, we looked at this really big trawler. How big was it?
72 foot.
Yeah, scary size for me. I was like, it was just a bit overwhelming. We could have got it, and it ends up this guy owns this boat and is selling it at the moment. So we know it quite well because we did really consider it.
The irony is when he got hold of us, so in our episodes when we were talking about stabilizers, and we actually used a photo of this boat called St Andrew. And it's this green boat, and it has gull wing stabilizers on the side, and we used that photo on our episode to actually explain what the wings were. And he got hold of us and he goes, "Oh,
that's mine.
That's my boat." I was like, "What? Are you serious?" And and I remember talking to this guy. I didn't realize it was him, but I remember talking to this guy. Geez, it must have been 6 years ago at least. Looking at buying that boat at the time, and that was before we bought Brewpeg, and it's a beautiful boat. But yeah, he got in touch with us, and the amount of knowledge he has of these things is just awesome. So
he collaborates with a boilermaker who specialises really in these wings. He's done lots of them, and they've been trialling and airing now for 25 years.
Yeah.
So they've got it down to what works and what doesn't, and he explained it to us. He explained why use the materials, why use the designs that he has. So we're going to go with his design.
Yeah.
But it adds about $3,000 on to the price, and we don't have it. So we're not going to do it right now. We're going to carry on with what we've got. Yeah. But basically, we're going to have a problem probably in about 2 years with the stainless hinges.
Basically, the issue is that stainless work hardens over time.
Yeah.
So it cracks over time, and that's why you have galvanized anchor chain versus stainless anchor chain. The stainless will just basically break on you with no warning. Galvanized will bend and warp and rust, and it'll give you a whole bunch of warning signs basically that something's going on. So he was saying that they started doing the design that we came up with. He said we did that 20 years ago, and then used it, and you got a couple of years out of it before problems started turning up. And then they started modifying the designs further and further to try and resolve it. And he said we've pretty much settled on a design that nobody changes from now, because it works, it doesn't fail,
and it's been well trialed by everyone.
So that's where we want to get to. But we're going to do a few generation leaps rather than go straight to it now, which I'd love to, but we can't afford because of the cost. To do the hinges that we need to do based on his design, it's $2,500 for those hinges alone. And we need to do some sliders and a whole bunch of other stuff, which is another couple of grand for sliders and things like that.
But we will. The next episode is going to be explaining this thing, like the changes and what we want to do and what we're going to progress with. We've got quite a bit of progress with the wings, and hopefully by the end of the weekend we'll be pretty much they'll be settled.
They'll be getting close to finish. Yeah. There's a couple of things we're waiting on. So I need to basically drill out some new lugs, and lugs are essentially the hinge that goes between the wing and the arm, that joint on the wing and the arm. I'm waiting for a drill bit to arrive. I can't basically drill out the steel that I need to until this 32mm drill bit arrives. So once that's here, I can pretty much finish the wings off.
Yeah, hydraulics will be expensive, and we're actually going to move away from that. We're going to use the Kubota for the get home motor. That's the backup motor that we're going to use, and the anchor chain holding that in.
And it'll be a backup for our steering. So
we're going to go electric for a winch for the
for the wings,
and we're going to have a manual backup. So we've decided it's just not worth what we were thinking of doing, and it's a simpler design that we now have, but we'll explain it in the next episode. There's quite a bit to sort of explain because of
I suppose the issues that we came across is that originally we started with looking at electric winches, and then we realized that it was going to be, there was a lot of compromise and we couldn't solve them, so we went to hydraulics, and then that changed the dynamics, but it still opened up a lot of compromises, and then we realized that the compromises were happening because we had folding arms. So we've dropped the folding arms, gone to a solid arm, and it's simplified things massively, and as a result we can go back to the electric winches, which actually work out to be quite a bit cheaper than the hydraulics.
I think we've been given an idea by Brand to maybe get some dark clothes on and go over there at night and grab some hydraulics off the gear.
I like the way you phrased it. Can you harvest the hydraulics? Yeah, because that's not illegal at all.
But, you know, the way things are going, things like that might start happening.
Yeah. No, officer, honestly, I was just harvesting them.
Stealing, no. So we'll update you though.
So, sorry, Dennis, to answer your question, 32 mil. Yeah, so 32mm is the pin size for for both ends of the arm, and we'll be doing 1.5 inches, so 38mm for the main hull hinge. The design, I actually found this, just a regular old hinge, but this is very similar. If you imagine, you know the hinges that have 5 or 6 different pin things, that's basically the design that they want to use on the boat. It's a wee bit hard to show you, but it's essentially just a copy of a door hinge. So is there any old mining equipment just here? Yeah, we actually do look, there are auction sites that auction off a lot of that stuff, so we do keep an eye out on that.
And we may go to that at some point. It's all about the decisions and the priorities, making the best decision possible to keep things moving, because the danger is with sort of a pandemic like happening at the moment, things can start to falter, and you can lose courage, and you can lose the ability to keep going. So we've spent this week really thinking hard about what's going to make this more, stay on track, and we're doing that. So there's a lot that'll happen in the water. Remember that the engineering doesn't stop when we're floating. It's just we'll probably be beside some whales on the way, So there's a lot that'll keep being built. But there's a carpentry question. I saw that. Where's that?
How's the carpentry coming? Looks like you're stumbling through it. Just think of it as welded with nails and screws.
All the kitchen, the galley, all the galley cupboards and everything is off-gassing down at Tim's place. He's down south from us, about 3.5 hours. At some point we're going to get the ute, and we're going to get another ute, and we're going to go down and we're going to haul it up here. And then, but before we do that, one of the scheduled jobs we have, once the wings are done, is we're going to strip the galley out, and we're going to strip one of the front accommodation out, and we need to just do some blasting and just a bit of metal replacement on the walls, and then we need to seal, sandblast and seal them, and then we need to insulate and wall them, put the wall up, and then the kitchen goes in after that. So I can't wait. It's going to be amazingly practical.
Dennis, the kitchen is built. It's sitting
it's
sitting there ready to go. We just need to do the prep work. There's about probably three weeks of prep work on the boat to do before we can start installing it. So that's going to be
like literally all done. The drawers can be opened and everything. And Tim's made it so perfect. So it'll just slot in. And of course all the whiteware needs to be braced inside it and everything like that. So we're hoping to get it done before we go in the water, and depending on the travel restrictions, we may choose to stay here an extra month or two, past the point of what we were hoping to, when we were hoping to launch, to get the kitchen in. But
I just thought our kitchen's currently in self-isolation.
It really is. And it's going to be gorgeous. The benches are all, we've decided on stainless throughout the galley. The walls are white, the roof is white, and the cupboards and drawers are all stained beautiful wood. What's the word called? The lines are
plywood? No.
no. You know the
Symmetrical, parallel.
you know wood. It has a lines in it. Wood has a line.
Grain.
Lines in it. Grain. Yeah, it's my brain.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all. Tim's made it so every bit of it has the same grain lines.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful, and he's also made us a table for sitting around having a meal to go in the saloon here as well. So the lounge.
So why don't I take them around?
Everyone is going white. Yeah. Look at that. The ute at the
muffler shop was awesome.
Yeah.
I think it was a Holden HQ ute from memory.
Yeah. What's that guy's name?
Oh, Russell.
Russell, he was awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's really into the project, and he's just really into his work. Hey, it's just lovely. A real table, like seats and everything. That's what the odd shaped seat at the front of the saloon is for. We're actually going to size that up, and that's going to be used for the table, and then we'll have free chairs on the other side of it. So it should comfortably seat 4, but 6 can go around it. But don't forget, on the back we're going to have a table that's hydraulically drops down that'll seat 6 to 8 people. So that's where most of the food will be eaten out there. So that's a wee way off. That'll be when we're in the water.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so I show them all
any questions, guys, before we take you on a little tiki tour? It's been complete.
Be complete with the lazy Susan too. I don't know anyone called Susan.
Are they lazy?
She could be. I don't know. I don't know anyone called Susan.
Poker table on the back deck. Yeah, likely. You got to pass the time on these big trips somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to reiterate, so launch time is definitely delayed. We think up to 2 months, and maybe longer depending on what happens with the kitchen. We are still planning on doing all the projects we were hoping for, but we're going to have to work inside the travel restrictions globally. So it just may slow down things, and we just may stay places a bit longer, and we may not get to places, for a bit longer than we would hope. But
it might be that we stay a bit longer in Australia. Like if we can't leave Australia, for example, we'll still start Project Brew Pig, but we'll just start it in Australia and stay there for a bit longer and do some cruising and there's plenty of pretty amazing spots to check out in Aussie, so it's not like we're missing out on anything. Like it's just we just have to change the plan a bit. Yeah,
so it's just being flexible and adaptable, really, and not being stopped by any of this. So hopefully everyone stays well. That's our main focus at the moment. Actually, is just staying well. So cool. So you're gonna
I'll go for a bit of a wander and show.
Don't forget the shroud. The shroud is awesome.
All right, here we go. Turn the camera around. Okay, so out the back. So this is our new exhaust shroud. So I'll just open the door up. So you can sort of see the shape of it. Actually, here's a good example. You can see the shape on that thing there. That's basically a piece we cut off, and that's had scallops taken out of it and some little nicks and whatever on the sides. And that fits on the top. We haven't quite cut the top of it out. You can still see there's a wee bit of steelwork to hack out and get it in there. But that basically, this little piece here gets welded into the top, just like what we did on the bottom. You saw the piece that we welded on the bottom there. And then this center piece here slides over top of it and actually glues onto both of those. So that, actually I've got an example of this. This is the layout that we're going to be using on the exhaust shroud. So the black stuff all the way around here is heat and sound insulation. And then this is the main exhaust, and then we've got 3 smaller exhausts that are going to be mounted in there. These are all the same size, but I'm actually going to be making the center one quite a bit bigger. That's 1.5 inches. These are all 1.5 inches, and that one's going to be a 2-inch exhaust so that we can have a bigger generator down the track. But that is essentially what we're creating. And actually what I will show you, all around here is an air gap. So all around all the exhaust, etc., is an air gap. And the reason we've got an air gap is so that we have the big yellow fan that we have in the engine room. That's going to be essentially plugged onto the bottom of this and firing hot engine room air up the stack and out the top. So these are essentially going to be air cooled all the way up the stack. So not only will you have your heat insulation around the side trying to stop people from getting burnt, but you're going to be having an air cushion all the way around the hot exhaust. So that's what's getting built for that. I'll show you. Oh, there you go. That's the main exhaust there. That was donated by Dom, one of the guys that you saw recently on an episode. That's a 6-inch stainless exhaust. And then down the side here, we've got a whole bunch of exhausts stacked up. That's 316 stainless exhaust that's going in for the small generator. And then we've got our wings. It looks great, the hairdryer 3000. Right, so what we've been working on, so we've been basically getting all of these continuous weld runs finished. So we've got a few more to do on this one. This wing here is finished. You can see all the weld runs are basically on all of the lengths are done. What we have been working on is strengthening. So you can see in the center here, we've basically welded on a big slab of steel on both sides. And that basically takes the weight. So if I come over the wing that hasn't got any on it, you've got this main weld in the center here, and rather than that weld taking the brunt of all of the strain, by putting the big plate on one side of these center beams, you end up you're spreading the load quite far. You end up not having to have that weld take the full brunt of it, because you're able to spread it between this point here and this point down here. Hello. So we've got all 4 of these are welded in now. So we put it on one side of these beams, and then where are we? Trying to figure out which end it is. So this is the end that the hinges go on. So on this side of the arm, on both sides, we weld on basically a plate that sticks through the top skin of the wing, and that's what the arm bolts to. And it'll look like these. These are the plates. So if you imagine that half is inside the wing and that half is above the wing. The only issue, these are stainless, and they're they're not going to work. So basically we're not using these. These are, if we use these, they'd work harden and they'd eventually crack, and they're not going to work. The downside with these ones as well is, if I just stick that up like that, that's what the water sees. So a great big flat face as it's driving through the water. So it's pretty unaerodynamic. So what the plan is we've been told by Chris to use mild steel for that hinge so that it doesn't work harden. So we went to the scrapyard and we found a slab of 20mm thick mild steel. So I'm going to start cutting that out, and that's what the 32mm drill is for. I need to basically cut the shape out of this plate. I've got to do 4 of them, and then put a 32mm hole through it, and then weld that into the wings themselves. And then we've also got this piece of 16mm by 100mm hydrodynamic. Yeah, very much. This piece of 16 by 100mm flat bar, that's going to become more strengthening. So that'll get welded sort of across this direction here between these beams. So where the cheek gets welded in and sticks through for the pin, there's going to be a beam sort of sideways as well, and then we'll extend it back down and forward. So there's still a lot more metal to be thrown into these wings to strengthen them up.
Strong, aren't they?
They're going to be really tough. Yeah. Yep,
okay.
And then these are the tanks that we're fitting. So we've got holding tank and oil tank, and then I'll show you the air tank. It's a pretty awesome little beast of a thing. This is it here. I'll just clear the stuff off, but you can see the shape of it. It's pretty cool, eh? Like they've got four essentially looks like a dive bottle sized cylinder, and then they've joined them together. So this is, I got this from the scrapyard the other day. It's rated for 470 psi. We're not going to get any close to that, but yeah, that's going to be awesome as a little air tank, and it's nice and snug up against the wall. Are those wings, and those wings are somehow going to be watertight? They will be watertight when we're finished, yeah. So let me just snap around. Yeah, so the plan, what the plan is basically weld the wings fully and double continuous everywhere that we can. So there'll be a fully watertight sealed up tank, and then yeah, we're going to throw a couple of litres, like 20 or 30 litres of diesel in each wing, and that'll just slosh around over the lifetime of the wings. It'll keep the insides from rusting, and it'll also, if there's ever a leak developed, diesel's a really great leak tester, so it'll basically leak out and tell us where there's a leak. Yeah, and there'll be a bung top and bottom so that we can always check the diesel or whatever.
Oh, yeah, putting a bung in.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
the plan. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to work. Yeah, it'll work nice. Actually, I'll spin this around. So this is one of our mock-ups for our folding arm. So that's essentially a pattern of the wing, the shape of the wing, and that's the folding arm welded onto the hinges. We're going to keep these hinges for now, rather than do the modifications into the door type hinge. We're going to keep these hinges for now and just roll with them, and then we'll replace them within 2 years.
Roll with them.
Yeah, roll with them. And then this arm's going to be changed. I love that air tank. It's awesome, isn't it? Yeah, this arm's going to be changed to a solid arm. So rather than folding in the middle where we've got a hinge here, we're going to be creating essentially one piece of steel. It'll have it'll lock in around here somewhere, but it'll have a slider so that it slides all the way up high. So it goes 800 mil above the top of the roof there. So it's 3 meters from the deck here to the top of the slide. And that's so as you lift the wing, the arm basically goes vertical up in the air. So that's the plan.
Lots of work to do.
Yeah, heaps of work.
Yeah. So we'll keep you posted, guys. Stay safe, and yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
A month seems a long time between live feeds, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't
we
it?
may need to do more.
Review that.
We'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, have a good month, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. See ya.
Guys. Bye.
Bye.